name is Valeria Sorgato. I'm a researcher at the University of Geneva. I'm actually a PhD. I'm researching about scientific communications and climate change, specifically how people's motivations and beliefs affect how they interpret scientific data. It has been seen that scientific data and models are difficult to understand, and I want to see the perception and the beliefs and the understanding also of different stakeholders at COP regarding how they interpret the scientific data presented by the IPCC, especially from models and emission scenarios. That's why I'm here at COP. I'm doing some interviews to get these different perspectives. Based on my research, I think there is different perceptions about achieving, actually, because one of the questions I ask always is their perspective of achieving net zero emissions. In my surveys by 2100, so net zero emissions of greenhouse gases by 2100. And there is some people are very optimistic and some people are very pessimist. And I think it depends a lot on what people have lived, what they have seen, their experiences, and maybe from where they are from. I have the feeling, I can't say 100%, but more or less the feeling of the interviews I've been doing, people who have experienced or have seen the impacts of climate change, some of them are more fatalistic. They think there is no solution. They think that governments are not doing enough to reach net zero emissions. But then you have the more optimist one, maybe people who are in action, are doing things to mitigate climate change or working in private companies. I think mostly private companies. I cannot say all, but I've seen more optimism. Some are also very pessimist. For example, I interviewed yesterday some that were doing a private company that they were actually creating a greenhouse gas for extreme weathers, and they were more focused on adaptation. And because of the experience and because they have seen the extreme weather and how the situation is right now on climate change, they were not very positive about reaching net zero emissions by 2100. But it's very diverse. There is many different people obviously from all over the world with different motivations, with different beliefs, optimists, fatalists. I think that there is many people that think that they have hope that we can reach that once humans realize that there's no way back. When there's an event like COVID that really put us in I don't know how to say it in English, but really makes us feel the urgent to act, then we will act and we will maybe reach net zero emissions by that time. One of the things I also found more or less in the interviews I've been doing is that people, related more to communications, let's say, is that people do not focus on the data. I present them the data, I ask them to see the data, to analyze the data, and to give me an answer based on the data. But many people just answer based on their motives and on their beliefs without actually analyzing the scientific data. So that's only a reflection about how we humans also take decisions based on our experiences, and we think, I'm not saying science is 100%, no, it's not, but we're not able to update or at least analyze with new data our perceptions because we are very focused on what we really believe. But going back to the other thing I was saying before, the people who have lost hope maybe are some southern countries that they see that other countries are not doing enough. Indigenous people, that they feel that governments are not doing enough. And I guess they are the most vulnerable ones that are experiencing the most of climate change impact. Yeah. I've heard that this COP was meant to be a COP for Indigenous people, that was representing Indigenous people, but I've also heard from them that they were not really represented. And some of them were not even allowed to come to Blue Zone. They couldn't come inside, or be part of the negotiations. As always, they are not so well represented or heard. They should. They should be, because they are, I don't want to say they are the guardians of nature, because they are not. And because I read an article that was saying that when we say that they are the guardians of nature, it's putting them a pressure that they are the ones that have to protect nature, and a responsibility on them, which is not their responsibility. Like, it's all humanity's responsibility to take care of the world and nature. They're only part of it, and they have the knowledge to do it. And not only the knowledge, but also their culture allows them to preserve nature. It's part of them. It's just the way they see life, the way they connect with nature is so different to our vision or our values or our way of seeing, worldviews of seeing nature. There are people that have the knowledge and they have shown that they can protect nature. So I think we have to hear them more than what they are heard right now. I can't say if here they had a lot of representation. I think maybe they had more because there was this promotion, but I've heard that, they were feeling a bit frustrated not to actually be more part of the negotiations and be there. So I'm not 100% sure, but that's what I've heard. Yes, there is this urgency to act. Yes, we will leave. And people are currently living the impacts of climate change that they were already predicted or projected several years ago, decades ago, and now we're living them. This is affecting everywhere. It doesn't matter where you're from, it's going to affect everyone and everywhere. Sometimes you can lose faith on the negotiations, on what is happening in the world or what the politicians really want. And it's not only the politicians, but also a lot of industries and interests and powers that are in play that makes it really challenging. But I think we have to be hopeful. And I think the people that can actually also drive the change, if those who are in power are not doing enough, we are all part of it. So I don't think it's only the responsibility of a few, but I think each of us, we can do a little small piece, a small part of the change. And I believe that the last thing we have to lose is faith, and we have to really work not only to mitigate, but to prepare and adapt to what is coming and to what already is there. Don't lose faith, act, and prepare and take care, because now it's not only about mitigation, it's a lot about adaptation, and especially in poor countries, in the most vulnerable ones, that unfortunately they are the ones who are least responsible of this crisis, but the ones that are suffering the most and will suffer the most.